What happens when World of Dance makes you ugly cry? You're about to find out.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back to World of Dance here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm Kristyn Burtt, and this week is all about the cut, week 1, and boy, did we cry. So I don't want to waste any time, but what I want to do is introduce my co-host. To my left, TK.
TK, I'm with you. This is a video. My name is TK Trinidad. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. We are in week 3 of my birth season. I still have the charity going. 10 more days to the charity, so you can go in my link to the bio to donate for the Boys and Girls Club of America. Appreciate it.
And my twin.
Woo! What's up? It's a polka dot party here with Kristyn and I. Apparently, you guys did not get the memo.
I didn't get it.
But yeah, if you want to hear all things about the polka dot party and dance and all those fun things, find me at Becky Sattero on Twitter. Yes, and Instagram, Facebook, and all those other places.
Yay! We're so happy to have you in
Twitterland.
7 weeks.
Yes, yeah.
It only took 7 weeks.
And hi guys, I'm Amy Cassandra. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Amy Cassandra _TV. Yay!
All right, let's get started because this is a new week for us in terms of we've been in the duels and now we're in the cut. And there's 15 acts left. By the time the cut is done, we are going to lose 9 of the acts. Only 6 will be left, 2 in each category, upper, team, and juniors. So it's brutal. And it gets a little ugly because I'm like, there are certain ones that I just didn't agree with. And I think maybe, I know some of us, we were all kind of like, wait, maybe. And then you were like, no. And then I was like, okay, this is going to be a good little debate. Yes. So let's kick it off with Hello, Misty Copeland's on the panel.
Oh my God, love her. If you haven't seen her documentary, so amazing. Like, was it San Pedro? She started off with the dancing over there. I think it was, Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club
and
at
then
the age of 12.
Yeah, crazy. Like,
trying to do ballet at the age of 12.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
No, thank you.
So definitely amazing story.
Yes.
No, it's fun to have her on the panel. It's going to be nice to
I think it's only one time.
I'm so
it's only
excited.
this.
Yeah, but I mean, just for tonight, it was nice to have her there.
Oh, I thought she was coming in or something. I was
That
like,
would be amazing.
Well,
We're not going to say yes or no.
on the judges panel on the
that
show.
She might be here. We don't know.
You never know.
You never know who's
You
going
never
to show
know.
up here.
But she will be on the cut week too because they filmed both of those back to back. So let's kick it off with Diana Pombo, and of course mentoring the juniors is J-Lo. Bless you.
Thank you.
And I keep forgetting that Diana's 11, and I had to write that down because I sit there and I compare her to Eva, and Eva's 14, but she's a young-looking 14.
Very.
But by the way, Diana's 11, so I think, where does that emotion come from? That's tapping in deep, don't you think?
Well, I think too it comes from parents, and not to say you don't have emotion if your parents are not there for you, but I think if your parents kind of establish that where you can show emotion and they encourage that, and there's not necessarily a lot going on, like there's not a lot of drama per se, and they have a healthy environment, then there's that opening there. When there's a lot going on, like parents getting divorced and all this other stuff,
When kids close.
yes, then it's like, okay, well, I need to be strong in this
Which
moment.
we saw in Eva.
Right. So I definitely, oh my gosh, she was ridiculous.
She is really tremendous, and it's to me, she's one of those people that's a technician, and I worry sometimes about technicians because oftentimes they lose what's happening.
But that's never been a problem for her, I feel like,
not.
at all. And she, I mean, I wrote exquisite. There's really nothing else to say about her because everything with her extension, everything that she does, the music she picks,
I was going to say that.
from beginning to end is just
It's Rise
flawless.
Up, right?
It's effortless.
That song was really,
the song was good. The piece itself was choreographed by Rudy Abro, which people will know from season 11, So You Think You Can Dance. He's also a J-Lo dancer, by the way.
Full circle.
He does her show in Vegas, but he has established himself as an emerging choreographer. He's doing extremely well, teaches out here in LA, but some of his choreography is so sophisticated, and he's very young himself. So it's kind of amazing just to see that.
For you to take this song though, and like I've been saying the whole season, and I think we've seen it now, when you get a really great story, for you to take this song and butcher it, not that you did, but it's almost impossible. Like, you have to be a really terrible choreographer to butcher the song and not evoke emotion. Like, she picked the right song, the movements were amazing, but it was just the perfect pairing.
What about, and I thought this was actually a really good note, because sometimes when the mentors get in there, they've rehearsed a lot, and then sometimes to have an outside influence, sometimes it can be really good, but sometimes it can upset the balance of what you've already created.
Right.
She said, sing the lyrics inside your head. And I actually thought that that was a great note that really translated.
It did translate. It definitely turned up her emotion. And I was going to say, actually, while you guys were talking, isn't it funny that Misty was able to pick out like the one flaw in Diana, which was the suction feet of, you know, her feet being a suction cup, I think is what she wanted it to look like.
Well, and then when she was talking to Eva, I took it kind of as a dig, because she said, you know, other dancers, I look at their bare feet and they're not like suction cups like yours. And the only other time she talked about that was with Diana.
Well, and I wonder too, you look at Eva's, they have in a lot of ways two completely different types of build. I see Diana very long and lean. Her extension goes for eternity. Whereas I feel like Eva's more of an athletic, like she really digs deep, she's strong. I don't know. Just a little bit of a different stature. So I wonder if that's kind of pointed it out a little bit more, is when Diana's long and lean, it is a little bit easier to see that balance off kilter a little bit. I don't know. I wonder.
I think Misty, though, is good. She always, when she was on So You Think You Can Dance on the panel, too, she was always good about giving every contestant one comment to walk away with. And I think,
one critique.
That's what hers was for Diana. And I was like, it's great because she can take it, she can leave it, whatever. But, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, hey, something to watch
She's
out
not
for.
sugarcoating it. There's still something that she's critiquing.
And she pointed it out, too, and to go back, it's such a minute thing, but that can make the difference in other competitions, you know, going around and dancing for a living. So she takes it and rewatches her performance and actually sees that, then, you know, that's an amazing thing. Because for somebody to pick out that minute detail, that's, you know.
Well, see, and the thing is that with acting too, and with a lot of arts and, you know, creativity and those kinds of things, you have to keep growing. And you're not going to keep growing if people are like, that was amazing, keep doing that. It's like, no, give me feedback.
You're doing an injustice if you're not picking out or giving that critique.
Well, and that thing too where Diana is, she's so lean that her strength is always going to have to come from her core, but the more she grounds her feet too, the stronger she's going to become with that solid base. And I think that that's also where, you know, make sure this is strong so that when you do your 180 and beyond 180.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It'll help her. I think it's actually a really smart note because I think it's going to help in the long run.
Stop? As because she's young and because she's so active, she's probably not going to, you know, mature as a woman for a little bit longer than, you know, just, you know, kids who are sitting on the couch. But as far as the flexibility and that extension, does it eventually stop? Like, I'm thinking of like Mariah Carey. She used to be able to sing 8 octaves. She could probably only do 3 or 4, which is still amazing. But she doesn't
like when does the body give out?
Yeah, when is the body like, all right, cool, I'm grown. Well, not happening anymore.
But she's so flexible. She's, I mean, more flexible than probably any dancer I can think of off the top of my head.
Right.
I mean,
maybe like Cirque du Soleil.
Yes,
I think mid-20s is when the body starts to kind of slow down.
Yeah, it's like, nah, we ain't doing this
I mean, that's funny you said that because I was thinking while she was dancing tonight, if this doesn't pan out, she could make an amazing career in Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah. They hire dancers themselves. So.
Oh, absolutely.
See, and I also think that J-Lo was perfect to be paired. I mean, I don't know, she was the one that said, I'm going to work with the juniors, but that was perfect. And of course, you know, starting it off immediately with Diana, crying her eyes out. And she brings that emotion and that maternal side of her that I think really helps all the contestants.
I think the pairings of the mentors kind of make sense. I mean, of course, Neo was going to do team, of course. And Derek makes sense. He's still a working professional dancer himself. And then, you know, J-Lo's a mom. She's nurturing and she's going to want to be able to, it totally makes sense how they divide up.
Connect with the kids, especially because she's a performer. So now, like, she has kids of her own, so she can connect with them. Well, Neil has kids too, but she can still connect with them and explain to them on their level.
Yeah, and I think that the junior, if I'm looking, it's very female heavy too. Diana, the Masquerade Sisters, Eva, but even like the Lab and I'm a Beast still had a lot of females as well. So there's very few males left in the junior category, except in a crew.
Yeah.
Well, and now. Not at all, so.
There you go.
I'm like, now not at all. All right, so the scores for this one, and they started very high with this one. 91 from Neo, 93 from J-Lo, 94 from Misty, 90 from Derek, for an average of 92. And I thought, where are they going to go with these scores?
Wow,
But remember, they have seen this, because, or at least J-Lo had seen it, so she had an idea of what the dances already looked like.
When you insert that emotion, and again, the song choice, I mean, you can't. And the perfection of it.
It was technically
it was
Perfect,
technically
yes.
sound. When you're kind of feeling that and you're watching the performance and still you're watching with a critical eye and still can't pick out anything aside from like the icon, the legend Mitzi, like just picking up that one minute detail. I mean, you can't go wrong. It was definitely well deserved.
Yeah, I agree. It was
Okay, and then we go to I'm a Beast for like 4 seconds. And all of us
so
groaned.
disappointing.
Yes.
All of us groaned. I just want to say, and
I don't think we saw them at all.
we saw them very briefly last week, and then I wrote an article for Dance Network last week about just like, I'm a little frustrated. I was like, dear World Dance, well, hey,
How many jobs do you have?
18,000.
This is where you do the
Well,
hair flip, Kristen.
She lives, eats,
Dance
breathes,
Network, I do
dance.
writing and I do on camera. So, but every Wednesday, I have an article about World of Dance come out, and I wrote "Dear World of Dance," and I just kind of talked about some of the stuff that we had talked about. Like, we're not seeing certain acts. It was a little frustrating. We think they all deserve their due. Not everything was winding up on YouTube. Well, someone slid into my DMs, and I'm not going to out them because they did slide into my DMs, but it was one of the executive producers of World of Dance. And there's probably about 6 listed, and they
Okay.
just said, hey, you know what? You can watch all of them on YouTube. And then I was like, actually, they're not all on YouTube. And then they said, which ones aren't on YouTube? And there were 7 that weren't on YouTube from last week's battles or duels, yeah. And they didn't get back to me, and it wasn't added, but I think they were under the assumption that everything was being added to
Don't
the
get
YouTube
on
page.
this girl and digging. She
Well,
gave
I
you
was
the
like,
exact number. She
I
said
literally
7.
listed them. Because I had made a list, and I was like, well, I think it's fair that we
You're
should be able to
amazing.
But
see
do you
everything.
think
I care.
do you think the ball is getting dropped? Like maybe they think somewhere along the line it's being posted and it's just not being.
I wonder. Sometimes I wonder about music clearance, and YouTube can be a challenge. That sometimes happens.
Yeah, because they're heavy songs.
They're heavy
Big,
songs.
I mean, I'd like to think it's not a cop out where they're like, oh, you can find them all on YouTube because I mean, come on, we want to see it.
I honestly, like, out of the goodness of my heart, I genuinely believe, because this person cared enough to DM me, and I will tell you that no other show has done this, and I was like, this is a person that cares about the show and cares about what's happening, cares about the dance fans.
Good.
So I mean this as a positive note. I think they genuinely thought that everything was winding up on YouTube, and I was like, as of right now, and this has been happening every week, certain acts are excluded from YouTube.
Well, see, if anyone's going to be able to get something done and post it, it's going to be NBC. Like, it's not...
Yeah, but YouTube is a whole nother beast.
But
like,
still, like, then figure...
No
I don't know.
pun
yeah.
Things get flagged
Yeah.
for copyright.
Yeah, you can like
Well, yeah, but...
Instagram and YouTube are probably like Twitter. You can get away with pretty much anything, but Instagram
Facebook you
and
can't either.
YouTube, they pull off stuff so quickly.
So, but what is it about those that it's making the other ones not be dropped? I mean, you're telling me that all the other ones are fine?
Well, it depends. It
Like, that
depends on the
makes no
level of
sense.
the song. So, for instance, like I did a workout video with this particular song from, I can't remember who it was, 21 Savage or something like that. Like, that's a very popular song at this particular moment. So stuff gets very sensitized or sensitive, and they automatically pull it down. And a lot of the songs that they've been doing the last couple weeks are, really good songs, or they're classics. It's not like we pretty much, between the 4 of us, if we were going down the list of songs, we'd all know the song in one way, shape, or form. So I think with
Some
the
of them are
songs,
remixed, so we
Right.
don't know what the
Well,
rules are with that too.
See, then the next solution would be to put it on their website, not YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you just
isn't-
take out like websites on the reel, not everyone goes to a website. So put it on TV. For heaven's sakes, now we're in the cut, week 7.
But
So
there
I mean,
can
give
be
them their
copyright issues too with their own website
give
too.
them their
A copyright issue is a copyright issue straight across the board.
Yeah. But if that's the case, then that should be like how Dancing with the Stars does. Everybody sings this. They have a live
Yeah.
where people sing the song, and that's how you skirt it. So they should have either had somebody sing it for them and read like, okay, this is a song we're gonna be dancing to, and just to go
Wait, so are
back.
you guys thinking that they cut it because of
Well, no, I think
trademark things on the show?
I think they cut it, and then they're assuming that
it's
everything is
fine.
on YouTube.
But see,
But
that
then they have
should
those
have been
copyright.
figured out.
Well-
If we're several weeks in, I mean, at this point, it's like, hello.
It's super simple for us to say this, though.
Right.
You have to
True.
understand, like, you're building a whole TV show. This is season 1. They're figuring things out.
You
so
have a whole team.
It's just weird they were the only ones that were so drastically cut. You know,
they were. I mean, there's been other acts too that have had similar issues. But I think this is what I've been hearing.
on this show though.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
What I've heard for next season already, they are planning to extend it to 2 hours. This is what they're working on, and that they're also working on extending not just a 10-week series. They want to make it longer, maybe like
Sure.
12 weeks or 14, 16 weeks, whatever that is. So
It's a bit much.
12 would be good.
12 might be good.
2 more weeks.
We don't
would
know
just
what
be-
that we don't know what that number is, but those are some of the ideas that are being tossed around because they do realize that this was not enough time.
We'll just keep writing. So then they can
Just
keep
keep
talking.
writing.
Yeah,
It's
like
slid
that's
in
awesome
her
that they
cheeks.
reached
I
out.
Give me a
love
list
it.
of issues, everyone, and I will type out tonight when I get home. So I'm a Beast got 84.2.
Yeah, we didn't even know who voted. I think they just threw up the number, right?
They did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have no
Yeah,
idea.
we don't know
really
where
what
that number came from.
We don't know what that's
We
based
didn't
off
see it.
of. But I'm a Beast does a ton of work. Will the Beast and his fiancee Janestra, they do a ton of work. So they're out here in the LA area. So
See, it would have been better if they did all 5 performances, did Swing Latino, and then did a hint of Super Crew, and then threw it to next week.
I mean, it's just
Like
timing
I
again, like we
would
talked
have
about.
accepted that because it's like, all right, cool. Like they left us on because I was still like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, I'm watching the time. I'm like, wait a minute, how are they gonna do all 5
So were
teams?
we. Yeah.
and they could have left us on a cliffhanger on
Exactly.
Super, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have made more sense. Like it just feels very. It feels like if I were them, it'd feel like a slap in the face. It's like I
I
get to this
completely
point, and
agree.
then all the four teams
Yep.
get played, but I literally get 30
feels like a
seconds.
slight-
That was my issue too. Is if it had happened to another team, maybe you know, we could kind of put that together. But for them to be the only one, and then in previous weeks we didn't even get to see them fully. So again, as an audience member, you're just like,
It feels like a slight. It probably isn't. They've been
a timing
performing.
thing.
And they've been. I'm a Beast. I know has performed at World of Dance Live at the Universal one that I saw a few weeks ago. So I know for sure that they're in the
I mean,
mix.
it's
and
just
they
like
appreciate it.
it was choreographed. Give some credit to what was
Right, the
prepared.
work.
You know,
And it's
yeah.
tough when you're telling all your friends like I'm gonna be on this NBC show, and then you're like
Yes.
Is that one
Oh my gosh.
on YouTube?
There, I'm a Beast last week did make it onto YouTube, but there were several
So-
others that I was like,
Well, we have yet to see if today's.
Well,
It's
maybe
gonna be.
she
I haven't
changed-
looked yet, so I don't
So
know.
hopefully.
Okay, we'll check that out.
To
She
check.
Yeah.
should get you in politics or something.
All right, let's go on to the Masquerade Sisters. I can't handle this political climate. I'm gonna.
Oh my gosh, the couch for them, that last moment where she dropped off. So amazing. I don't know if it was like, because it reminds me there was a movie like that. I don't know if it was Titanic or whatever, where
Oh,
they fall
Singing
off
in the Rain.
Singing in the
Is it
Rain.
Singing in the Rain? Where they fall.
It was amazing.
It was such a great
And I know
performance.
I'm stepping out on a little bit of a dun 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 moment, but for you, so you think you can dance, people. This reminded me of Travis and Heidi's bench a little bit,
Yeah.
only because I felt like they so perfectly integrated that couch. I mean, it just flowed with them. You didn't really realize there was a couch on stage. It was just part of their routine.
I liked that it was playful. We haven't seen that sort of playful side from them, and I think that was a nice added element to it. And their choreographer for this was Cassie Dizeni, who's an LA-based choreographer as well.
So what do you think it was that got them the lower percentage? They got 85.5 total.
I still think they're just not connecting with the audience as much. I think that's something that they wanted them to do more. And just, I mean, they were connecting with each other, but which was
Right.
the note J-Lo gave them. But
I think it was sweet. It wasn't like super hardcore memorable, like oh my gosh, or like oh my, you know.
Right.
It was nice.
when your other contemporary dancers are doing really hard tricks, that's and then it seems like the tricks are what are wowing the
The
judges. at
tricks
this point.
and the story.
the music,
The
with
music.
it.
Like, that whole rise up, I mean, you can apply that to pretty much anything. And, if you're having like, whatever, your dog is sick, you play the song, and now you're gonna get like emotions. Like can't find somebody drank the last Diet Coke. You play.
I understand you.
You get emotions like that song itself. You apply it to anywhere. Like your husband spends too much time in the bathroom. You.
No, he drinks my last drink. That's it.
It's just
Where's my vitamin water? He knows. He knows now to like run to the store and replace it.
so it's like that's like that song choice is amazing, and now that you say, it was just like nice, and when you put it against a beast like that, like it's just
well, and even what we saw already between Diana and Eva, it just can't put that in the same category, unfortunately.
And I think for the sisters, I think for them, they need to start exploring a little bit more with emotional levels, and I think that will be something that they sort of move towards as they get a little bit older too. If they stay as a trio, I don't know. It's kind of a fun concept. I don't know if at 25 you want to still be doing a trio. I wonder how that's going to all play out because one's 12, I think one's like 15, and one's like 17. So
They'll probably, you never know how they'll break out when they're getting older.
Or you one graduates and goes to college. Like how does that all play out? So
maybe we'll see one on So You Think You Can Dance. one of them will shift over.
So it's officially get
Destiny's
renewed,
Child.
right? Will the Dance.
World of Dance is officially renewed for season 2, 100% announced by NBC probably 2 weeks ago now. So,
Yay!
yep, that is confirmed.
Hot diggity dough.
Yeah, but I heard that not only are they like thinking about like how long the season will be, how long the show will be in terms of like hours, but also they've started to contact people behind the scenes. But they're this is what's interesting. They're asking people. I know.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. But they're asking people that are like maybe duos to like add another couple to their group, or they're asking someone who was in a duo to come in as a soloist. They're asking for them to mix it up a little bit, so they'll be a familiar face, but change it up.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, but it'll be a familiar face to somebody who covers dance intensely or watches all the shows. It won't be a familiar face to somebody who likes dance, but they work a 9 to 5 and
Right.
they don't have time to watch all those
More
shows.
of a novice, if you
Right.
will.
Yes.
So,
we'll see what happens. We'll see how they, and you know, this is so beginning stages. We'll see how this plays out because we all know how things morph and change.
I'm not so keen about that 2-hour thing, but whatever. We'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, as
like
the show grows, it needs to be competitive. So you think, and so you think it's I don't know. I think 2 hours is good.
Well, that's the thing. It needs to be competitive, but then we should show the best competitors versus, you know, like I'm sure I'm a Beast was great, but they didn't even make the cut to even play their whole
Right,
thing.
right.
So it's just kind
So
of
being more selective.
being more selective. And I think nowadays with so much stuff going on, you have your Netflix, you have your Hulu, you have your Amazon, you have your YouTube, you have your Snapchat, you have regular TV, you have NBC now has their own thing, then you have HBO, all that stuff. And now to expect somebody to watch 2 hours, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it. But on the flip side, if you do it in an hour and this is the best of the best, then I think you're gonna draw more viewers.
We'll see what happens, and also if they add a live element that has not been discussed as of right now. And there's no talk of viewer.
See, that was
participation.
my next question: is are they going to be doing the view?
And I hope they don't. Honestly, I think keeping
Yeah.
the viewer element out of it actually keeps the fan base a little bit calmer.
Although, unless they have more of like what they can do is add like a social media consultant or an aspect to that where, you know, separately on the YouTube or on the Facebook Live, now you can get like everybody's like how we have live chat and stuff
Right.
like that. Now you have
People's input.
reactions and their
Well,
input.
and I mean, if they do add any kind of audience participation, they would have to make it longer, 100%. The 2 hours.
or they
would
can
be
just add AfterBuzz
essential.
TV right after.
I agree with that part. Well, see, the thing is that this is.
I thought you were dabbing. I was like,
know.
what? I was like, what's going on?
I just didn't want to sneeze towards you. I was being
Thank
polite.
you. But I
actually.
didn't know you were dabbing. I was like, was that a dab-worthy thought? But okay.
This is like a
The
boomerang
sneeze
dab.
dab. It's going to be a new thing.
Yes.
Oh my
the
gosh.
Started
snab.
here.
But it is also a polite sneeze because no one wants to be sneezed on in close quarters like this.
I agree.
All right, we have lots of feelings about this episode. I want to make sure we keep moving along. 84, 85, 85, 88 for a total of 85.5. So that was how the scores worked out. And then we get to the lab. And this is what I wanted. And I'm going to see them again because World of Dance finals are in Pasadena this weekend. So I'm going to be seeing a lot of these people again. But I had the lab today on To The Point. I had two of the kids were on,
Nice.
Trey and Sweets. She's a little Sweets. And their director, Valerie Ramirez. But they, you know, talked a lot about the process. So go watch it. It's on Popcorn Talk.
Yes.
But the kip-ups that,
my gosh.
this is what I want to know. Did J-Lo really change their routine where she's like, okay, you do it, then you do it, and you do it? 'Cause
No
I'm like,
way.
Do we know that? Yeah.
Because first of all, I want to say no matter how incredible these kids are, it was perfect when they showed the
Yeah, I was like,
in rehearsal.
what if a kid couldn't do a kip up, you know?
I don't know. I feel like if they're going to be... But
I think it was.
I'm asking on Saturday. I'm
yeah,
asking.
I think it.
it just seems with that particular crew, everybody can do everything.
They are extremely talented. They study at the lab because it's a studio. They study kickboxing, weightlifting, hip hop, and tumbling.
Weightlifting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Rock
true enough. Like
stars.
I guess
Yeah.
I do agree with that. That if you're at that level, and
Yeah.
all the kids seem to be very well versed in all pieces of movement.
Like I feel like if you're gonna be, because say somebody gets sick, or say, you know, something happens and they can't, like somebody can't perform, I feel like it makes sense for everybody. Obviously, there's gonna be some people who are better than others, but it makes sense that everybody knows how to do everything versus relying on that one person.
That's how it is with teams, like dance teams, just teams in general. You all have to be able to fill in at any time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask, though. I just want
I
to
mean,
see how
J-Lo
that
was taking a lot of credit for it. I think that'd be ballsy for her to take credit for it if she really didn't.
Well, I don't know. It felt like Why would they include that? And
I don't. It's good TV, but it's also that's a big change in a dance at the last minute. And I will tell you that they were telling me, the little one at Kea, she was 8. She had just turned 9, so she was a very young 9 when this was all happening. I'm like,
and those are not easy. And she had to do what, like 6 of those back to back. Yeah.
But forget that part. The wink.
Oh, I know.
She's so good.
Like because I remember when I was a kid, like I was super shy, and to have such presence and essentially not necessarily lead, but to be in front of it,
she was
do
a
everything
spokesperson
perfectly,
too. Yeah.
like, and then to have such presence and do that.
They said she's born to be a star. They said she's
Oh,
not shy at all. But they said they had rehearsed so much, even doing the kip-ups, they were like, she was falling over at a certain point. They were like, we got to keep rehearsing, keep going, keep going.
Well, there's the weightlifting when you just talked about. I mean, having the muscle to be able to keep this up.
It's really interesting, and I was like, well, for dance purists, I'm like, are your kids studying ballet and jazz and everything else? And she said, I don't discourage it at all. Like, but they have to go to another studio for it. But she's like, I want them to train with other people because I understand the foundation of it. But she's like, we do what we do well for a reason. And she comes from a very athletic perspective about it.
Oh, we saw that. This entire routine was just packed with athleticism.
Well, and it was a performance. It wasn't just dance with nice music.
Right.
It was everything. And the costumes, the lighting, of course.
Right.
Oh, so much power and energy.
I don't know, but now that you said that, so as a dancer, because I feel like ballet is the basis for everything to me. But I don't know, is it different in this climate where you can skip over ballet and, still be a great dancer?
The kids I had in studio, Trey and Sweets, they had both trained in ballet and gone to other studios for that training. So, and they felt like it had helped them quite a bit. So I don't think that they exclude it. They go and train with other teachers. There are conventions. They're seeing all these. He's like, I have ballet slippers.
You're right, though. It is definitely the actual foundation of most dancers.
Yeah, that's how when I started. That was like you weren't even able to take jazz until later on.
Sure.
Like everybody, I went to the Ontario School of Ballet, so.
Ooh, yeah, baby.
But everybody had to start in ballet, and then you did jazz.
Sure. No, it was like that with me on dance team too.
Yeah.
Doing all the bar stuff. I mean, teaches you the discipline and the, like we just said,
the repetition and muscle memory.
Muscle memory,
Body awareness. There's so much. Spatial
posture,
awareness.
yes.
Oh, I hate it now. I go to a yoga class and people sit on top of you. I'm like, you never took a dance class.
Wait, sit on top of you? What do you mean?
They put their mat right on top of yours, and you're like, you have no idea of what class.
What yoga spot are you going to?
Oh my! People have no idea when people don't. Have you ever talked with a close talker that's like,
I hate
no spatial awareness?
I
It's
never
that same
experienced
person.
that, but that one person where you're going into corpse and they start snoring, hilarious.
Yeah. I was like, spatial awareness.
That was
is a
like one of
big
the
thing.
#1 things that on dance team I remember doing first. You would stand in your lines, you'd literally arms out to be able to get that distance so you could move and be able to breathe through your movement.
Spatial awareness is a big thing, and people, when they don't have it, I'm like,
You know what you need to do?
Class.
Just have some beans.
Yeah.
That'll keep people far away for a long time.
But honestly, their routine had so much versatility. I loved it.
I really loved it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they showed growth in all 3 of the routines and showed something different, that they're not just capable of one.
I think they should have got higher.
I think
especially
so.
when he jumped over and then came a few feet away from
he had
the
a mic
judges.
drop.
Oh my
right
gosh,
there.
that was so
That's
amazing.
Trey. Trey is their trickster. They said he was the one that did the 540 the very first week. And Derek was like, is that a 540? Yeah, that's him. 87, 84, 85, 88. Again, I thought it was a little low. I was like, I thought they were going to be at least hitting 90 maybe?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. 86 was the average. All right, and then of course, we go to Eva Igo. And this one, I knew she was going to make it through because, first of all, they released it early this week, 3 or 4 days ago on YouTube as a preview. So I'm like, but I feel like they have sort of promoted Diana and Eva all season, and that we knew it was coming to this. I felt like there was no other ending
I was
to the cut.
I was a sucker last week when I saw the preview. I was like, oh no, Eva's going home. I was a classic one that they just hook, line, and sinker.
I just felt like I was like, this is the only outcome. Based on editing, based on the way they featured them.
I know, but I did not want 2 contemporary dancers in the top 2. I would have loved it to be like the Lab and Eva, or Diana and the Lab. Just a little bit
Eva's
of. No, I know. I mean. They're exquisite, both of them. They belong there, 100%. It's just, I wanted a little variety.
Yeah.
See, I wonder if when they were choosing them, because some people were called to, go into World of Dance, if they thought at the end that that's what would happen, because they're insanely
That's
talented.
gonna be a battle. Oh
It
man.
wasn't like, you know, well, at least until like this round, if that's what they knew was gonna happen. I mean, they must. I mean, you've got two amazing dancers, and what did they, I mean?
Yeah, but
we don't have any say.
Right, but you're assuming that. So in theory, yes, but then you're assuming that, you know, the music choice will be proper, that, you know, there won't be a technical mistake, or you know, they wouldn't connect to the judges, and so yeah, in theory it would make sense, and obviously that's what played out. But there's so many other factors that, you know, they're both under what, 12?
Eva's 14.
14 and then 11, right?
Yeah.
So it's just
Oh my
they're
gosh.
children. So so many things could happen.
Yeah, and I mean, you could, on paper, you could say, like, this is how we want our finale to look like.
Right.
But again, like, you would probably say, like, DNA last week, you'd probably say, they'll probably make it past, or at least to the cut. But he didn't have a great day at the office.
Right,
It
you don't know
happens.
if there's going to be personal error, just
Right.
like a slip or a fall.
He was human. It happens,
Yeah,
you know?
life happens.
Life happens. So, all right, so Eva Igo and...
Do you know who choreographed it?
I looked too, just to see
Okay.
if I could find it. She had listed it, but it wasn't listed at all.
curious.
A lot of the dancers have been listing their choreographers, but this one was not, and I don't know. Maybe she'll list it.
It was so beautifully
beautiful.
choreographed.
So-
My favorite, pretty much, of the night.
Yeah, it was definitely.
And J-Lo knew how to, like,
Yeah, she
just
did.
dig a little bit, but to push that button in a way that worked really well for the
Right.
dance.
It was definitely
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the thing. If she didn't connect with the dance, then it'll be like, okay, what is she, Red Riding Hood? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here? So, like, so
So
amazing.
mature. I mean, at 14, she's talking about insecurities. Like, are you
Right.
kidding? I mean, of
Well,
course we all have
yeah.
them, but I mean, there was so much depth in that.
What she said when, was it Derek, I think, that asked her, you know, like, what inspired you? What she said sounded better than how most politicians speak.
Right.
That's how you know. Like, she's so mature.
Well, that's not saying much in this landscape,
not,
but
not
yeah.
in this landscape. I know. But I think this was the breakthrough that she needed, because she's been fantastic, but she had that emotional breakthrough that you were like,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
There was just she was like a stone
Yeah.
wall, but tonight we saw past that.
If you remember, if we go back to that very first week in qualifying round, I was like, it feels like a little bit of facials going on from like convention circuit, that kind of thing.
Right.
I didn't feel it. Like, I felt it was genuine, it was authentic, it was coming from a deep place. That was all gone.
When you get to that, almost like the muscle memory and performing, and you perform not well but exquisite.
Yes.
Then you add that emotion to it. It's just so amazing. So
I literally just wrote perfection. Like I'm not a you know, I'm no Kristyn, but so I don't know everything there's to know
of us
about
are.
dance, but it was just absolutely perfection.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're seeing all of those elements they're talking about and they score them on coming together, that's what
You
that
had
was.
Derek bawling. I mean,
Yeah.
Derek's
Yeah.
the most hysterical judge, because he's always
Yeah.
like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, he's really fun to watch.
yeah.
Yes.
He's all of us. So as I'm
Yes.
ugly crying. I
Yeah.
tweeted out Brittany ugly crying, because I was like, that's how I feel tonight.
Tonight was very, very, very dramatic.
Yeah,
Definitely need
but
tissues.
there's nothing like it. When somebody it's acting and all this other stuff is great, but just through dance and movement can bring chills up your spine. Then, like, I mean, yeah, Eva definitely did that.
She
like,
dug in.
I
Yep.
felt, you know, I get it. So, you know, kudos to her.
And the scores reflected that 90, 92, 95, 93 for a total of 92.5, putting her at the top of the leaderboard, which then knocked down the lab and then put Diana in second.
And that 95 was from Misty, which is, wow, that's crazy.
She
I
loves-
wonder how
she loves
must
those
have felt.
feet, the
Suction
suction cups.
So, I mean, you know, I'm disappointed for the lab, but the lab, they're doing incredible. They just won one of the biggest international competitions for their division. They're killing it. So we're going to hear a lot from them.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about them at all. And, you know, hearing they're very positive. Their leader is just like, you know, things you don't always win. Things
Right.
happen, and you go back to the studio and you rehearse, and it makes you better, it makes you hungrier. So I was like, I'm not worried about them.
But the amazing thing about all these kids, provided that they stick with it, is that they have now established a career for themselves that people don't even know what they want to do when they're 30.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I'm assuming, obviously they're doing the competitions, but there's places there that they do where they perform and they get paid for, like, these people, they're making money, and provided whoever they have around them is putting that money in a safe place, by the time they turn 18, like they're golden,
Right.
you know.
Well,
And they're instilling so much stuff in competition and performing, like that builds so much character. I mean, you have to do something really crazy to kind of screw that all up.
Right. And well, what was so unique about them is they're the kids that all come from difficult backgrounds,
Right.
so they have that family. So I mean, take away all of, peel back all those layers, they still have that family that
Right.
they needed, and an outlet to dance. So that's important.
They were, yeah. I loved having them today. I was like, I
Nowhere to go
wasn't
but up.
sure what, like, having kids. I was like, how's this gonna work out and
Yeah.
stuff. And Val came and give the adult perspective. But I was like, man, they're more
They have
mature
nowhere
than
to go
me.
but
So
up.
mature, yeah.
They're great. They're incredible. All right, we then move on to the team competition. Neo is the mentor, as we discussed. And we kick it off with Swing Latino with their Colombian salsa that I just love. But this was kind of more like a street salsa
Without the sequence.
without the sequence. I was okay
Much
with
to
that,
Derek's
actually.
dismay.
Oh
I
my
was okay
gosh.
with that too.
It was fine.
It was like a scene. I can't even remember. I'm like so can't connect my movies tonight.
West Side.
West Side
Was it
Story?
West Side
Yeah,
Story?
West Side Story.
It was like a scene
Very
out of
much.
a movie. It was just so amazing. And then the footwork was just so...
It looked like it was on fast forward.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
was so crazy. Like how you... And it's not like they did it for like 2 seconds and then they kind of... they did it for such a long period of time. It's like how... And not to like, hunch over and breathe like, oh my God, I'm about to die. Like, just amazing.
You can't blink. Well, okay, did we see a jump go wrong? Did you guys see that move where it felt like somebody got...
back at the beginning.
Where he...
Somebody got... It looked like somebody like
No,
who didn't
she
clear her.
went and she looked like it was.
Yes.
But she was supposed to catch. She caught
Okay.
him. It
Yeah.
went
Just-
right.
Yeah,
It looked sloppy to me. I was like,
I've
wait, was
seen
that-
that before. That was on oh my gosh, the last show that we did.
Dancing
with the Stars.
Okay.
And I thought that was like a mistake, but
Yeah.
that is a move.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's used in
was
ballroom
scary.
quite a bit, actually.
I just like to
Yeah,
my
we-
eye. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I
Yeah,
was looking
yeah.
somewhere else, and my eye just caught it in the
if
wrong
you
way.
go back and watch it, you'll
Right.
see how they do it and where they
Okay.
Yeah.
grab.
That's
yeah.
what I need. That's one of those I need to rewatch.
Yeah.
And
moments.
it looks like someone just like ran into him, but then
Yeah.
they're like, boom.
well because
caught.
all of our faces were like, wait, or our face
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
wait
yeah.
a minute. Did
Yeah.
No, and 100%
Later.
it would have been also mentioned by the judges because
Sure.
that would have been a huge error.
Yeah.
That kind of
Right.
thing.
Right,
Yeah, if they
of
didn't
course.
let that tour on Lair that DNA did last week and where he stumbled, they wouldn't let that one go
Yeah.
either.
You never know if they just didn't edit it. You know?
So I mean, the flips, the tricks, the
The girl that went like
Oh.
17 feet into the air.
It was
Oh
just
my
like
God.
a whoop. Sorry.
I have an idea because we know they're not going to win the million. Let's be honest,
Yes.
okay? It's
Yeah.
just the way this
Unfortunate.
competition is.
Yeah.
But I was like, someone in Las Vegas, like at Treasure Island, would you not go and pay like money to go see the show with your tropical drinks and like watch an hour or
Treasure Island,
Mirage.
or even
You
like
need to go to the
yeah,
Mirage.
even any of the places where it's like in the Caribbean or something like that. Like this is the good thing about World of Dance because everybody's such a professional that everybody, if they didn't come in with a job, they should be
They're going to
walking
get
away
plucked.
with a job.
Yeah, I could absolutely
Yeah.
see somebody from Vegas plucking them out.
Oh,
For sure.
I think that they would fill
yes.
a theater. You don't
Vegas,
have to,
cruise lines,
Yes.
like
there's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Well, you could build a show around them. I mean,
You could easily. I mean, to me, I'm like, I just want to sip a tropical drink and watch this. And
and
have
we know they
class.
can pull off multiple costumes.
Yep.
So
Sequence or no sequence. But they just make me want to dance and just like while watching.
yeah.
And let's talk about the scores because the scores were extremely strong. I mean, we're looking at 91, 93, 93, 93, very consistent across the board. 92.5 was their average, but I was like, they love them. And, you know, even though we know they're not going to be there as the last standing dancer.
well, they were rewarded fairly.
Oh,
100%.
their stuff is so technical and so hard, but
Yes.
I really hope that they're rewarded with something beyond this show.
See, and they ended up getting the same score as Eva Igo.
Yeah.
92.5, but
technical.
it's a different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game.
But what they have is, you know, they have the technical difficulty, but they also have the performance level. And I like, you should try, any of us should try getting through that routine.
Right. I was just thinking that.
cardio?
In sync.
Yeah.
It's just that there's so many of them on the stage, and I was looking at all their feet and the women, and it was just, and then they were inserting like sexy.
Yes.
Like, you know, it was just like, oh, because I always look out for the black people. So there's the black chick there, and it was like, damn, like, it looks like they're in a relationship, but I know I don't really know, but I'm assuming they're not, but they're giving me that feel, and they're 2 out of the 15 or 20 of them that's on stage, so it's just like, I'm still feeling that, I'm getting it from everybody, But you know, it's
and they were
just,
throwing rotation in there. It wasn't
my
like they were
gosh.
in one place doing that footwork. It was like spinning and then moving and backwards and
There was
forwards.
a full story. There was the tableaus that
Holy
Misty mentioned. This
my
was a
gosh.
full.
Yeah, the
tableaus.
tableaus on
See,
point.
I think the camera work was a little scattered because it made me feel a little confused. So that's why I would like to see them live. That's the only criticism I have.
And for them, I mean, remember, again, stage in the round, everyone has talked about the challenge of that stage. The lab talked about it again today,
Yeah.
but I imagine probably with their routine too, there were some challenges there.
I think the cameramen were like, "Ooh, there's a lot going on here.
Right.
Yeah,
Do
less
not
is
know."
more with those large groups.
Yeah.
I
You
just
need to
one.
find out how many cameras they have there.
Oh, yes. She
they-
asked the best questions. I'm always like, see?
Because they probably have one still facing the judges.
There's got to be
Have a
jibs.
There's a
jib.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe 6,
Maybe.
and they have one at the
There's
top.
none
the
from
ceiling, yeah.
behind.
I'm going to
Well,
throw.
actually, there is.
Yeah, sometimes there is.
Sometimes from
But
behind.
that's yeah. I don't know. It'd be
And they're also doing virtual reality for YouTube, so there's a VR camera somewhere there too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll try and
Yeah,
find
less
out.
is more with those big groups.
All right, we move on to Super Crew, and I think
This is where I leave. I'm unhappy.
This is where I know we were all kind of mixed on this. I love that it was so different from the other 2 numbers we saw. That it was lyrical, that it was emotional. I did think it was a little disjointed at the end with the spinning, just because everything was happening here, and then all of a sudden it kind of went back here.
right.
However, I appreciate 98% of it.
I love
on
it.
the
I
same
love
level.
it.
It was a
I loved
snooze
it.
fest. I was like, it felt like you were gonna. It felt like you were trying to tell a story.
Yes.
But then you're trying to tell the story as you're making it up in your head, and you're just not a good storyteller at the moment. Like,
Oh
you
my
know,
God, I feel like Derek. I feel like Derek right
Yeah.
now. I'm like, did we? But isn't this the just the most beautiful thing about dance is that 4 of us saw the exact same dance, and we just saw it. 2 of us, 2 and 2, saw it in such
polka
a
dot
different way. Because
blondies.
to me, at polka dot party,
Polka dot blondies.
but I'm telling you, like, it's very rare for me personally to see a dance that just absolutely blows my mind. And I think that part of it is because B-boys, to me, you bring the hip hop every time. It's expected. This was like precision in a lyrical form. Again, like they talked about, they brought it in a totally different way than just traditional hip hop. And again, seeing men vulnerable, B-boys who are vulnerable, who had a story.
Like the guy, let's say they're in a relationship, and the girl's like, "I'm leaving," and then he turns away and he's like, "Well, leave then." Where
No.
he really
It's
doesn't
not
care.
believable.
Yeah, it's like, nah, dude, you have Becky on the side.
was beautiful. It
I
was
thought
beautiful.
it started off really well. I did think it was disjointed at the end. However, I thought all that sliding across the floor. I thought the flares that they did were, they were done more lyrically than sort of like, let me just like hit it really hard. And again, it showed something different from them, which I didn't love their last outing in the battles. So I thought that they shouldn't have gone through. And this one, I was like, okay.
But again, I think
get it.
that's part of it is taking a risk and doing something different. And we
Right.
saw them do that tonight. I know that like we're getting to the next levels where it's got to be more than just the risk. But I swear by this routine. I loved the B-boy. He was like literally like hand to form.
Yeah, that
hand to
was
form.
cool.
Hand to
Amazing.
form.
That was
ridiculous.
cool.
But
You
then
know?
you had one who was doing like almost like a slow walk, like he was crying, I think, because his grandmother passed away. And I'm like,
Well, if you weren't
Well,
feeling
yeah,
it,
see,
then
yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
disingenuous
Right.
to you.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't, like we said, that's the beauty about dance.
Well, see, and even starting the performance off, there was too much fog, and they were kind of like making their way through, and I'm like, okay, I move it over fog because I can't see the dancing. And then it started, and it was all right. There was something missing.
Yeah.
There was something
What?
yeah.
You know, I'm like I was there with with
God,
Becky.
I mean, like
Like,
I was engaged the entire
I wasn't.
time.
I think I looked down on my computer.
I
like,
appreciated what they tried to
Right.
do,
Oh
but there was something
God!
missing.
And this
loved
is where
it.
I loved the scores too, because it was 86, 85, 89, 95.
Yes,
I think
Derek.
95 was a little generous. I might have pulled back.
Yeah, I
and
would
been
have done
about
like 92.
Yeah.
Right.
So polka dot blondies tonight are like
Hello.
same one brain. But
All the haters be hating.
Oh, Lord.
but here's the
We're
thing.
criticizing.
Derek has said to me, and the couple times I've interviewed him about this show, he has said that there were some serious disagreements, and it looks like it was this was probably one of them that he was talking about, where he was like, I just did not agree. Things happen, everyone else has an opinion. There's people on the panel, and that's the way it goes. But the level of dance is there, and again, art is subjective, and you're going to see what you're going to see.
And I love that. Like, this is the most diverse I feel like we've been this entire season
Right.
with our opinions, and that's what's so beautiful about it, because it's boring for all like, yeah, it was great.
Well, and it's getting to the nitty gritty too. So now we're like looking at things like, I like that why did they do that? They took a risk. They shouldn't have taken a risk.
Right.
There's certain things.
Song choice and
I don't even
that's the
remember
thing,
the song.
yeah, I think if they chose maybe a different song, like even if they chose Puff Daddy's song every step you take after Notorious B.I.G. died, and they did something to that, and they applied the same dance, maybe tweaked a little bit of things, I would have felt
A different song choice.
The song, it's just
I totally appreciate that because I think that obviously music moves us, and that's we're all auditory first. I feel like when you hear that music, if it's already not striking a chord, you're already disengaged within the first 10.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't even remember
because I love that song. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm not gonna try to sing it, but it's a great song.
Thank you for not trying to say it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, but I think it does lead to, we've got more of the team coming next week, and I'm like, we know we've got like Ian coming, we know we've got Kinja's coming.
Late Twins.
Late Twins are in upper, aren't they? Am I doing this right? Yes, they're in upper, not team. So, because team is continuing on, so it's Ian and Kinja's.
Ooh.
Are we missing anyone else? I feel like we might miss
one more.
There's one more. Kinja's. We've got.
Oh yeah.
Because we know it's not Jabberwockies, and I will tell you guys, there was a lot of
one of the ones we saw for 7 seconds, I'm sure.
There was a lot of online fighting last week that Ian made it over Jabberwockies. A lot of the Jabberwockies fans started like attacking Ian fans.
Come on, guys.
And then remember, I interviewed Ian last week, and I just like tweeted out like, watch the interview. People were like, Jabberwocky, you should have won. I'm like, I have nothing to do with like Ian winning, and like, why attack me?
Hey, but now they know if they didn't know who you are, they know who you are now.
Now they're like, she's the annoying girl that interviewed Ian who shouldn't have won.
Yeah, but then you interview Jabberwockies and they know where to find you. They know who you are.
Yeah, right. There was a lot of online debate going on about that, and I think that that's interesting because people are talking about it, and that's what you want at the end of the day. You know, there's tons of comments under the Jabberwockies performance and under Ian's, and you know what?
There's no bad news.
There's no bad news for anything like that. But I am excited to be attending the World of Dance finals in Pasadena on Saturday.
Nice.
The lab is the highlight of the night. They are, even though
is that open to the public in case people want to go?
It is open to the public.
There
and
you
you
go,
can go to
peeps.
worlddance.com.
Perfect.
Not the NBC site. You want to go to the World of Dance. It's just literally worldoddance.com and hit their events tab, and you can buy tickets there.
Let's get the tribe out there.
Yep, and Luca and Jenna Lynn are out there. I think DNA's in town. Diana Pombo's in town. There's a bunch of people that have flown in for this, so it's kind of like the big final one of the season.
So if we go with you, do people like part ways because they see?
They don't.
Right?
No, they don't.
The dance C parts.
I float in.
That's the way.
Or they carry you on me a chariot, like really hot guys or whatever.
We'll be your backup dancers.
That does not happen. I walk in on my own feet, park my own car, all that stuff happens.
Terrible.
I don't even valet. I'm not even that special. But and then also just to let everyone know, the week after that, July 29th is National Dance Day. So they're doing it in 2 cities this year, here in LA, down at the Music Center in Grand Park, and Kyle Van Newkirk, excuse me, is the tapper. He's going to be there. Keone and Mari are leading the day. And the MC is Jenna Elfman. So she's on the board of Dizzy Feet Foundation. And then DC at the Kennedy Center is also doing an afternoon. And they haven't announced the acts yet, so I don't know who that is.
I love Jenna Elfman, CSUN graduate, alumni. Woo, what up?
And quite a good dancer herself.
Yeah, baby.
So, just some things to kind of take a look at. Well, you guys, this was a good one. I felt like we had a lot of feelings.
Lots of feelings. Lots of ugly crying.
And we have no black eyes, no water in each other's face.
Not yet.
No, I drank all of
That
them.
comes with the finale. Amy, tell us where we can find you.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at AmyCassandra_TV. I'm going to be part of the AfterBuzz editing team for San Diego Comic-Con, so that starts tomorrow.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
follow
girl.
me along there. Lots of fun stuff happening.
Hot diggity dog, as we say. You can find me at Becky Sattero on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and World of Dance here. And So You Think You Can Dance tomorrow at 7.
TK.
TK.
You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Again, it's my birth season, donating to the Boys and Girls Club, so you can go in my little bio, click the link, and donate.
Birth season, I love that. And I'm at Kristyn Burtt on Twitter, the Kristyn Burtt on Instagram, and of course, check out my interview with the lab. It's on Popcorn Talk, so it's to the point with Kristyn Burtt. We will see you guys next week here on AfterBuzz TV with World of Dance.
AfterBuzz TV. From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.